Hey y'all, how are y'all doing this Saturday? Welcome back to Plump Girl TV. I go by the name of D. While you're here, hit that subscribe button. Don't mind how I'm looking. I'm sitting here eating sunflower seeds because it is story time. And I just want to vent for a little bit. I just experienced something that pissed me off, but it's all my fault because I felt like I had the same conversation with the same person like for the 16th umpteenth time, and I'm annoyed, and it's all my fault. Like, I don't blame them. So I have a crush. I call it a crush because we never really like dated, never had sex, never anything. Knew this person, this guy since I was like 15, 16. We met then. I guess we had kind of like a little thing for each other then, but we were young. We hung out a little bit, never no sex. I think we like pecked out. And I'm saying hung out, but did little kid things, teenager things or whatever. And I guess how we kind of lost contact was I think he got locked up, and that caused us to lose contact because I never was like a street girl. So I ain't gonna hear about people getting locked up or when they coming home and all that good stuff. So came home, started a family, and we ran into each other a couple years later on Facebook. So, he hit me up, and it was just like, oh well, oh wow, like good seeing you, so it was a little bit of flirtation, but he was in a relationship at that time. I think he was actually even engaged at that time, so it was a little bit of low-key flirtation. I think at some point they had a little falling out where, he was like it was over. So we had agreed to like meet up. He kind of stood me up because I guess, they decided to work it out. So he, didn't come, to see me or to, kick it with me because they decided to work it out, which I understand. I wouldn't want, him to be still seeing her while coming to see me, so I completely understand. So that fell through. So we never seen each other still. So once they really, I guess they were always just kind of like on the edge of breaking up. It wasn't gonna work out, but they were still trying. So I guess they finally broke up, and he moved to Georgia. And so I didn't know that when they broke up or when he moved to Georgia. But once he got to Georgia, he kind of like hit me up on a Facebook Messenger, and we began to talk. Like this was like 6 years ago. We began to talk and flirt and do all that good stuff. And just like, dang, if I knew you was feeling me, I wouldn't even left Virginia. I wouldn't even left for Georgia. I would have stayed in Virginia. Like we could have definitely seen what was good. I felt like, we could have had something. Like I probably would have never left. I would have stayed and been with you and all this other stuff. So this goes on. Like we did all this exchange, sexting, naughty pictures, anything that you can imagine two grown adults doing who feel like they have that chemistry, who feel like they have, that connection with one another, who feel like they should be together, but it's just the fact that they stand in two different states is holding it back. So like we definitely was getting in deep, with the talk of the sexual talk, and talking about like being together, and it was always just like, damn, you should come move to Georgia so we can be together, stuff like that. But it always seemed like when I would start to plan to come to Georgia, because I felt like, the same way as him. I'm like, damn, if we hit it off, like I definitely would move to Georgia. I definitely would be with you. I'm feeling like you the one that got away and all that good stuff. So I was always down with it, but it was just like me being the person that has to up and move. So definitely I'm gonna have to be the one to do all the preparation, not to mention, I have a grown daughter, and I have, a son. At this time was, young. He's a teenager now, but he was a lot younger, obviously. So, my daughter, I raised her by myself. So I don't know that I would leave her, not unless she wants to, but I'm sure she would probably want to move and establish herself on her own somewhere closer with me. So I'm sure she would have moved with me as well. So every time that we would plan to move, I mean to visit and stuff like that, because I would have to go and view the place to see where I would move to and all that. Like it's preparation that goes into it. Like he would always just seem super distant. he will always pull back. It will always be like not that same energy like me. I'm excited, I'm ready to go. I'm planning, I'm doing all this and all that. And he will always just kind of like fall back. And that became the thing to do. Like every time that we would stop talking for a little bit, and then we were back talking, and we'd be jumping right back in, in line with what we were already talking about. Like, damn, you should move here, we should be together. So again, it's just like I'm trying to think, I'm trying to plan. I'm like, okay, I just signed a new lease, I can't move just yet, I gotta wait a year. Like, damn, because you know what I mean, it's all these preparations, but he not really it's talk, but him not really putting in like a whole lot of effort. Me, when I'm thinking about it and when we're talking about it, like I'm dead ass. Like I'm really thinking about this. Like I'm really thinking about like moving my family to Georgia, because like I'm feeling like this guy, like we vibe really good. Like I can talk to him about anything. I'm feeling like I really want to be with him. So like this happened like maybe 3, 4, 5 times. Like, we not talk for maybe a month or two. We're back on and we're back like making plans to see each other, making plans to move, and so on. So I'm just gonna fast forward. Well, no, I'm not gonna fast forward. So there was a time where we were like talking for like 4 or 5 months straight. You know what I mean? Like super like good mornings, sending pictures, and we were vibing. Like we never really talked like that much straight. Excuse me, without there being any type of hiccups, without there being any type of like I'm planning to move and he fall back. And when I feel that energy of him falling back, like, I do what he call I snap on him. And I'm just like, what's good? Like, why are you acting this way? And because of that, like, I will just fall all the way back, and I'll just go on by my business, until the next time we talk again. But it just seemed like it just keeps on happening like that, year after year. So, um, in the midst of all of that, like it was one of my homegirls, because again, we went to school together, so we know a lot of people in common. So it was like one of my homegirls, like her boyfriend at the time knew him, like they grew up, they were like best friends or something like that. And she was just like, I mentioned to her, like, yeah, I'm gonna go see so and so, and she was like, he's married, right? And I'm like, married? Like, no, he's not married. So come to think about it, or come to find out, he was married, while I don't know exactly when he got married, but clearly like they were dating and courting each other in the midst of us, like, kind of heavy texting and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh wow. So I end up getting a chance. I think he went to jail or something, I don't know. Like I ended up getting a chance to ask him, and he like, yeah. And I'm like, why you ain't tell me? And he want to be like, because it kind of was a bad marriage. I guess he shouldn't have married the girl, and it wasn't going to work out anyway. So why even mention it? Which I thought, beyond anything, whether us being together or not, like we were friends. So why wouldn't, like, I shared a whole lot of my relationship experiences and fails and all that with him. So why not? I thought like that's the relationship and the type of level that we were on. But he never mentioned it. He admitted it when I asked him. So that made me feel some type of way. Like I was very upset about that. So I think we didn't talk a little bit, but as I said, like we always kind of like come back together. So I'm gonna fast forward it, with a whole lot of us talking, us planning, him falling back, me going by my business, again and again and again. So I'm gonna fast forward it to now. I was in a relationship and I got hurt pretty bad. I was in a relationship with a narcissist. So I've been doing a whole lot of like self building and lifting myself up, getting myself back together and back in the swing of things to start dating again. And, I had made a post and it was just kind of like, guys need to step up, and be kings of these relationships and, stuff like that. And he commented as if like he, saying some type of flirtatious stuff. So of course that led to me like me being I had asked him something in his inbox. So we started talking. And again, he all like, we can work on it. It's always working on. So I'm thinking, I felt like when we were talking before, we were working on it, but he told me that that's not what we were doing. So that bothered me because I'm like, all this heavy texting and talking we were doing, like we weren't working on anything at all. Like you telling me that you want me to move to Georgia We're not, that wasn't us like working on a relationship and trying to get closer so that we can, get it off the ground. Like we weren't doing that. He claimed like, no, we weren't doing that. So we weren't working on a relationship. Then why keep your marriage a secret? Clearly we're nothing in your eyes. So why not tell me that you're married? But anyway, so we got to talking again, and he said, we was never working on it. And I'm like, well, we both got completely two different stories about like what we were doing. So that kind of pissed me off. So I was just like, yeah, I'm good on that, because I felt like I did too much work on myself to be settling for bull crap. And I feel like we've been doing this bull crap for years. So again, he all like, you should take a vacation, ASAP. I want to see you and this and that. So again, honey, it's like a fucking roller coaster that won't never end. Like it's a bad one too. Like it's gonna crash at the fucking end. It's ridiculous. Like again, I'm just considering, like I just got a new position at work, so I'm thinking that, how I'm gonna take off. I'm like, okay, if I go to weekend, if I don't make it back in time, maybe I can just call out on Monday. You like, I'm trying to maneuver a lot of stuff around to see him, because in my mind I'm feeling like I'm 41, and I felt like, we got a connection, and let me just go ahead and make this happen so we can just dead this. Like we can see like if it's good, is if we're gonna be together, is it gonna work out? Like in my mind, like this is like a one, like my last option, and if it don't go through, then like I would never consider this again. So it comes down to like, I tell him like, okay, I can come the week of the 15th, November 15th. He like, all right, good. Not good. He's like, all right, just let me know. So I'm like, okay. So that was like the last time we talked, and it like 3 days went past, so we never talked. So I'm thinking like, I'm doing all this preparation behind the scenes, like, and he can't even like hit me up, like, you're not even excited that I'm coming. You can't say nothing. So his excuse is like, I'm working. And I'm like, okay, everybody works, everybody got full-time jobs, like, so how is it that you don't have time, but yet we're working on things, yet we agreed again. I went on ahead and went with him. Like maybe he had a point, because we never actually said that we were working on things. So maybe we weren't working on things. Maybe it was just me. We was doing heavy flirting and all this, and I was thinking we was working on things. But that was just me making an excuse, which I'm admitting. I can admit that that was a dumb thought that I was thinking. What I felt initially was the correct. We were working on things. We were low key flirting. Like, how were we not? If you're asking me to move to where you are to, make this stuff really work. Anyway, he's claiming like he works 72 hours a week, and he don't got time to reach out and this and that. And I'm like, so how do you have time for us to work on things as we agreed? I thought that that's what we were doing, and he really can't see it coming from my point of view. He just want to keep on talking about he work. I'm like, everybody have full-time jobs. Like I have a full-time job. I'm a full-time mother, single mother, and I'm doing little league soccer and all that. So like how, like that can equivalent to the same 72 hours a week that you working. Like, so I'm confused as how is it that you don't have time? So I'm like, so why are we working on things? You don't have time. And I don't, I want time. I want time. I want energy. I want all of that. And, he really don't, he just don't have nothing to say. He's super nonchalant, which lets me know like he's kind of been nonchalant the whole time. And I don't even know why I even fucking bothered. So that's my point now today. Like, I'm just mad that I even went and had this conversation with him today, because I felt like I'm just I'm beating a dead horse. I'm feeling like I'm trying to make something different out of the same exact situation. Like that's insanity. Like doing the same thing and expecting something different. Because that's exactly what he did to me. You know what I mean? He's saying that it's work and that's why he can't reach out. Like, so how am I coming to visit you and you got all this work and you claiming you so busy? You don't have time for us to work on things, nor do you have time for me to come visit you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a bunch of BS. And so this message, just story time, is real short and sweet. Like I said a video. I think I did one yesterday about he's just not that into you, and that's just what this case is. You know what I mean? I'm reading into it way more than he is. He really don't give a, and I don't really want to cuss, even though I've been cussing. He really don't give a fuck, and that's just the reality of it. I always thought like we may have had something, but the reality is we don't have anything. Because if we did, he would have definitely put more energy. It wouldn't have been no excuse about work, and that's just what it is. Like I know this, and I don't know what I was doing, so I'm pissed at myself that I even took a couple steps back and lowered myself to even be dealing with this dude because he ain't worth it. He's a fucking joke, and that's just story time. Listen to your instincts, ladies, and you know when a guy just not that into you. If they're not putting in that energy, they're just not that into you. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, plump. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so. And I will talk to you later. Later, bye bye.